how good's that?
What an intro.
Best intro yet.
Yeah.
Hey?
Like I was saying, welcome back. I reckon let's not worry about the podcast. Just guitar all.
Just have a
session.
60-minute jam session.
Yeah. Nah, welcome back, guests. We got listeners, we got another guest in today. I'll just fix this on up, Russ. We got another guest, we got our first musician guest on.
Oh, exciting.
And first female guest.
Yeah.
We realised.
Wait, do you know?
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, we realised. We're like, man, we've
This
just
is
had
also
dudes the whole time.
actually going to be our 1 year anniversary.
Oh, really?
When this comes out, this will be 1 year pretty much within a couple of days of when our first episode come out.
Awesome, bud.
Yeah.
There you go. Special guest on the year anniversary.
Congratulations to the 1
So,
year.
introduction, we have Billie Rose from Charters Towers, country music singer. Any other introduction you want to give to yourself?
No, that's probably it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This is very exciting.
Yeah, yep. So we'll probably start off with what got you into like playing guitar. Where did it all start? Did you play guitar first? Did you sing?
I sort of did both. I started when I was 8 years old. I got singing and guitar lessons at the same time.
Yep.
That sort of stemmed from... thanks.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That sort of stemmed from when I was in primary school at Richie Hill. Shout out Charters Towers.
Oh, Richie Hill, yeah.
They did a Richie Hill's Got Talent, and I actually mimed a Miley Cyrus song.
Right, yeah.
Really? Which Miley Cyrus bang?
See You Again, it was. And I mimed it, and I loved the feeling of like performing. And so I pestered mum and dad for singing lessons, and then I finally got some along with guitar. And then I only stopped those singing and guitar lessons when I was 19, I think. So I continued to do all that. I entered my first country music festival when I was 8 years old as well.
Obviously in Charters?
Yeah, in
Yep.
Charters Towers, and then that grew to travelling around Queensland.
You shouldn't have to hold that. That's
Yeah. So we got the old dodgy setup.
So I ended up travelling around Queensland, which ventured out to New South Wales and other places in Australia competing in competitions. And then when I graduated from high school in 2018, I flew to Sydney with my mum and recorded my first EP. So that was in Sydney. That was a 4-track EP. I got into songwriting actually when I was 14 years old. I dabbled in that, and then I also then met other songwriters and did some co-writing. And that's when I decided to, record the EP and get that out there. And then I think also I started doing gigs when I was 14 as well.
That's young to start doing
yes.
gigs. Where were you doing them? A bit of everywhere?
Well, I started in Charters Towers, but there's not a lot of live music in Charters Towers. So
What, just at the pubs and stuff?
it was back when the Waverley used to do.
They should still do that, don't
Yeah,
they?
they don't. Yeah,
Really?
so I think the only live music they have is at Irish Molly's at the moment, which sucks. But sucks that that's the only venue, I should say. But I did dabble in that a little bit, and then I guess was still competing, and then I ended up coming to Townsville every now and then for gigs, but because I wasn't living here at the time, I sort of didn't do as many as I would hope, and then that really kicked off probably 2 years ago, doing like traveling for that. And then the opportunities sort of just stem from there. But so I'd say the whole journey started when I was 8. Yeah.
That's a long time ago, yeah.
These
Yeah.
like
Awesome.
singing competitions, what do they like entail?
Yeah, so country music festivals, the competitions, I should say, they generally have like categories, like your gospel category, your vocal category, bush ballad, and country rock. So you've got to have a different song for each, and they have to fit a certain criteria.
So they make you play in each category.
You don't have to play in
Okay.
each category, but the more categories you're in,
Yeah, I
the
don't
more
know.
chance you have
I
of
didn't know
winning.
any of this, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm from
so
Charters.
there you go.
I didn't even know any of this.
So and they'd even have like one specific festival that was for Australian. So the song you chose to sing had to be from an Aussie artist, which I think was cool.
That is cool, yeah.
I would sing the same gospel song for years and years because I just didn't want to
What
sing
was it? What was it?
It was called Oh Lord, actually.
Well, who by?
I I actually don't know who it's by, but I also did dabble in How Great Thou Art at one stage.
I love country gospel.
Yeah, it was
Absolutely
great.
love
And
it.
they used to have it on the Sunday morning at breakfast time. And your vocal section was a song that you believed showed your vocal range as best it could. And then you get a first place, second place, or third place. And genuinely, the first place getters go into the finals and you compete for like the overall. So it was always like awesome, you know, competing, and you get great money and trophies.
Take a few of them out.
Yeah, a couple. Like, I mean, I lost for a long time as well, but as I got older, sort of start, you know, and the festival got smaller, I started winning. But no, they're great. I think it's a great way to meet other people as well.
Sort of get into the industry a little bit.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, you're getting critiqued, and when you're young and impressionable, it's nice to get that feedback. And then you're working towards saying, I'd have singing lessons once a week. You'd work on those songs and you'd compete. And then after that festival, you'd choose another festival. And so I think it really built up the confidence to perform as well. With, you know, you've got a free backing band they use every week, like every weekend at the festival. You get to experience what it's like playing with the backing band. And I think it's just great character building, really.
That's awesome. Is that how you won that guitar that Harrow has?
Yeah. So that was
It's a
at
nice
the
guitar.
Hughenden Country Music Festival. That was one of
I
the...
didn't even know you wanted to get a country festival.
Pretty much everywhere has a country music festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of the prizes, along with, you know, money and trophy and that. So you get some awesome prizes. And then, like, you can get the bigger country music festivals, like the Gympie Muster does a big talent quest, which is great. But then full circle moment, I started actually judging the festivals, I think 2 years ago, which was pretty cool.
Epic,
you know,
true.
being able to sit back and watch, you know, the little ones, you know.
Are you like a real harsh
Doing
judge
that.
like Simon, though?
No
Just
way.
run them down.
Just run him down.
No, I remember reading mine, like traveling back from a festival, and sometimes I'd be like, oh, that was a bit harsh. But no, definitely not. But that's always a good way to give back to, because I remember all the years that people would volunteer and either play or judge for free, really. So it's nice to give back.
Is there anything a judge said to you when you were younger that was either really good or really mean? Like something that helped you, something that like really helped you?
That's a good question. I mean, I've still got lots of my judging sheets I could probably go back through. I don't think so. I think maybe one of them picked up on like an American accent once and was like, you know, you cut that out, you're Australian. But I think it's just because we listen to so much American country music, you do end up maybe, I think everyone, without even knowing it, sings a little bit American, like the pronunciation of stuff. So I think that was something that I remember thinking, but I mean, I take it with a grain of salt now, because I think the more American you sound, unfortunately, the more listeners and stuff you get.
It's how country industry is.
Yeah, it is.
You're
Like,
right.
you do have to stay obviously authentic to yourself, but if you do have a bit of a pronounce something
Especially
a bit
in
American.
country music, because there's no real massive Australian country music artists that have broke the scene. Like, you can have like other music scenes, like say Sticky Fingers or something. You have the Australian accent, and it thrives.
And it does.
People
it
love
really does. Yeah,
but
that's
in country, you're right. I haven't really thought about that. You kind of need to put that American twang on.
Yeah, even a little bit. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the country music industry in Australia can be a bit of a hard one to crack. Like, it's quite feels quite cliquey. Like, they've already got like their peoples. So I have been sort of dabbling in a little bit more of like the alt country scene, trying to maybe get into other festivals that aren't just country and sort of venturing out. And the older I'm getting in, the more songwriting I'm doing and the more people I'm meeting, I'm realising I'm probably not so much just country now. Like, I would say even my own taste in music's probably changing a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
It's good to progress too, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I find artists that do the same sound over and over and over, I get bored of.
Yeah.
You know? And then when artists progress, I like it. I like the guessing game. There's always some fans that are like, oh, the old so-and-so is better, you know? But then I like
That's
it when
right.
when artists progress and sort of change it up a bit.
That's it. And I feel like you can't put your genre into like a category now. Like the umbrella's so big. Like, you can say, oh, I'm a country music artist, but Dolly Parton's in country music artist, but so is Morgan Wallen, but they sound completely different.
I feel like country is such a wide scope. You can have like your pure country, then like you said, country rock,
the older guff,
your folk, bluegrass type stuff. It's pretty broad with the sounds, so you can you could probably branch out quite easily from a country base, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And you're going to have, listeners that aren't happy with the new country music because Kane Brown doesn't sound anything like Willie Nelson or it's just like it's constantly, progressing.
Beyonce's album.
That's the only one. Yeah,
that's the only one we can all agree on.
That's the only one we'll shit on. No progression.
That's it. So I'm definitely not boxing myself into any category.
That was actually one of the questions I had was, and in my head was if you were to do a different genre of music, what would you consider? Like if
I mean, I don't even know what you would call it. Like
that's cool.
I love, say, Noah Kahan and the Lumineers and Maggie Rogers and like Meg Mac, and it's like, well, what are they like? I love Zach Bryan, and he swears he is not country, but it's like he's in the country charts. It's really hard to I just want to make music and hope that anyone will like it, and like if you hate country music but you like my music, then that's good. Doesn't mean I don't think it really matters. I just want to make music and then people like it. Really,
that's the fun of it, eh? Keep the fun in it.
That's it. And then I think not boxing yourself in gives you more opportunity to apply for other music festivals, or like there's a music festival like Blues on the Beach or something. Then maybe I feel like I could apply for that, but I can also apply for, say, like a CMA Fest or like you can sort of venture out a bit more.
Yeah, that's awesome, Going back to when you were travelling around doing all the sort of those competitions, were your parents driving you around all those times?
Yeah, so I was awesome. No license. So my mum and dad actually bought a little white van, and there was a bed in there. So mum and I used that. He was away, dad was away at work a lot. So it was just us two, and we would travel near and far. I think the furthest we've been was Tamworth, the Gympie Muster in this white van.
True.
Yeah, sleeping in the back of it. Otherwise, it was like we would stop at hotels and stuff, but pretty much mum has been with me the whole way through, which has been awesome.
Your mum's awesome.
She is, and even when when I recorded my first EP in Sydney, we were in a little shack that was provided by the producer. And it had no windows, no nothing, and we were just sharing a little bed together in it. So there's been lots of memories, but I think they're the best 100%. Times. Yeah.
You don't often think about sacrifices your parents made.
Man, we've heard that a lot from a lot of guests here. The parents are a big part.
They're
until you
drive.
get older. You sort of think whether it's athletics, any sporting endeavour, music.
At the time, you just think it's normal, eh? And then when you're older, you're like, man, they did a lot of money.
Yeah.
Fuel,
she used
food.
to actually finish work, and I think it was on a Thursday. I would drive every single Thursday afternoon. Well, she would drive me to Townsville for singing lessons because my teacher was here at the time.
Yep.
So every Thursday, she'd finish work, pick me up from school, and we would drive to town, so I'd do my hour and a half sing lesson, she'd drive all the way back. That was just once a week. That was one small sacrifice.
For those that don't know, Charters Towers is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So that's 3 hours in a day.
On a Wednesday afternoon or Thursday night or whatever.
Yeah. Crazy.
Just for singing,
That's it. Awesome. And obviously money, at the time, I wasn't paying for the hotels or the fuel she was.
It's
and
food, accommodation,
my winnings was, going to me. It wasn't going to them. But obviously, as you get older, you realise that was a lot of time, a lot of money. So I think my siblings get a bit annoyed at that. They're like, well, we didn't have hobbies that use us spending time and money. I'm like, well, it's your fault you didn't have a hobby.
Find a hobby then.
Learn how to sing.
When you wrote your EP, how old were you, and how long did writing 4 songs? How long did that take?
So the first song I ever wrote was called Superwoman, and I wrote that. I started it when I was 14. I think I got the bones of it, and then I actually met up with another songwriter who lives in Townsville, Peter Schray, and she and I got together and finished that when I was probably 15. And then I just kept making really terrible songs and then half good songs, and then just got a diary worth of music, and then I had booked the recording session for the week after like graduation and schoolies and all that finished, and then I chose the 4 that I thought was the best, which was probably the only 4 that I had that were decent, and recorded them then. So it's quite a long process, but I just recorded another EP, Slaying Ghosts. I think it was 2 years ago now. But same thing, like I recorded 2 songs in 1 year and 2 songs like a couple of years later. But those songs like I had written years and years ago. Like you sort of, like there might be a song I wrote like 2 years ago and I might not ever release it. Or if I do, it might be in 3 years' time.
Sort
like
of hold them up your sleeve.
Yeah, you just hold them up to your sleeve. Yeah.
Not like as soon as you have it, you want to record it. You just wait till you have it.
Yeah, just wait. And recording's very, very expensive. So I try and like...
It would be, yeah.
Yeah, you try and save up. Like, so all of the gigs I do, the money actually goes back into my music account.
You just
and then, so it's kind of like investing in myself so that when I record, I can afford it, afford the flights, the accommodation, and the time off work and all that type of stuff. So... At the moment, I sort of don't see any money I make from gigs. That's why I continue to do the gigs, because it's, supporting my dream, which is
self-funding.
good.
It's awesome. Yeah. With your songwriting process, I guess everyone has a different style of songwriting. Do you come up with the vocals first? You just come up with the chords? What's your sort of style? You don't have to give away secrets here.
It's no secret. Just getting by. Probably both. I seem to sometimes like lyrics will come to you, like you might be watching a movie or a TV show and you're like, or even reading a book and you're like, oh, that's a good lyric, or that could be turned into an idea, or someone you might even have a conversation with someone. You're like, hey, that's a really cool metaphor. So sometimes lyrics will come first, but I generally, like, if I'm trying to write a song, I'll try and like make up some chords and stuff, and then go in.
Add in the melodies after.
I probably don't know if I could do just lyrics on its own. Like, I've always sort of used a guitar.
Yeah. That's how, because my old housemate Lukey Thomas, he was an amazing musician, and I used to hear him play, and it's the same. I think that's pretty common. He'd come up with an awesome chord progression, then add the lyrics, and sometimes he'd come with chord progression, come up with melody, and he had no lyrics. Yeah. He's just had a little melody.
That seems to be the way to go as well. And then like there's some people that are great, poem writers, and they don't have any idea of, say, melody or anything, but they are so good with their words. So I think it just depends really what way.
That's awesome. And I kind of wanted to save this for later, but recording your most recent album, was that over in the States?
No, so I did some songwriting over there, but I recorded it in Ocean Shores, which is like, I don't know, 10 minutes from Byron Bay with Garrett Cato. Yeah, so awesome. I recorded that. I recorded 2 songs with him in 2023, and then the other 2 last year. And then I've just like put them together and made an EP. But I have recorded and wrote 2 songs over in the States, which was, I think, 2 years ago now. Like, time's flying, but I haven't released them yet.
Really?
No, so they're sitting in my Dropbox, so I'm just like, what do I do with them? But I do love them. I think they're definitely a bit of a change in direction where my other music is. But I think that's the fun of it, really. I did change it a bit. Like, the way I wrote it in America with American songwriters is a little bit different from how it ended up coming out with Garrett. But I think I liked the change. Like, it sounded quite American and at the time, but now I've put my own spin on it, and Garrett, helped out there too.
Surely you have temptation to release it? Like,
definitely. I love it.
You just want to show people, or what?
Oh, definitely. Especially when I first get like a sample back, I send it to everyone I know. I'm like, well, not everyone, like mum, dad, and sisters and that, and say, like, this is what I've got.
And whereabouts did you record that? Was that in Nashville or whereabouts in the States?
No, so that was just all in Byron Bay with Garrett.
But the songwriting.
Oh, the songwriting. So in Nashville,
Nashville was.
It was awesome. In Nashville, and it is awesome. Like,
how long did you spend there?
So I think it was all up about 3.5 weeks. Yeah, so I had some friends at the time that were living there, so that was super helpful. And Nashville was actually a really great place for, they're wanting to help. Like, if they know someone who knows someone, like, they're super keen to, like, get you in contact. Awesome. Like, there's no gatekeeping there, which I was pleasantly surprised about. And one cool thing, I guess, that I've never seen happen was when I was recording, songwriting there, they like prayed before. Like we all had to like pray.
That's cool.
And like, I guess, get everyone in the room and like say a prayer to write a good song.
Yeah,
and
right.
Really
I thought it was really cool.
That's unifying.
Yeah.
And it's I love the music scene there. It's awesome. It's an awesome city. I love it. That main, what is it? Broadway or whatever. All the bars and that.
That's it. And like there is so much live music everywhere and so much good live music.
much
I would
talent.
love to go. I've heard stories of like just in a random bar there, you got the house band playing and Vince Gill will just rock up and start playing with them.
Yeah.
And I watch videos all the time.
Yeah,
He's my absolute favorite.
Vince Gill is amazing.
But he'll just be playing on like a random Tuesday night with the house band.
How good.
It's like the greatest
and
artist ever.
The amount of musicians that have come from Nashville.
Yeah.
And also
Literally.
the city next to it, what was it? It's just, Memphis. Nashville and Memphis. Just the live music scene in both of those cities.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Did you run into any like mad...
Well, the
artists
time
or
I
famous?
went was CMA Fest, so it was like
That's when I was there as well. By
filled
accident.
with really.
I was there by accident.
I didn't know it was on then either, but when I did, I like downloaded the app and there's like alphabetical order of all the artists. I'm just like, holy, like these are crazy artists that are just playing, on the riverside, like.
Yep, casual.
Very casual, like free, lots of free.
That's exactly the same. We rocked up me and my mate were traveling around the States in a van and we rocked up and we couldn't find accommodation. We're like, what the hell?
What's going on?
So we had to go to a caravan park and we're setting up our tents and our neighbours are like, are you guys, because there was 2 festivals on at the same time when I was there. There was Bonnaroo and the CMA and they're like, what are you guys here for? And we had no idea. And they had that
Neither.
They had that free stage and I didn't really like country music back then, but Jason Aldean was playing.
Yeah.
And it just
He's
won me
cool.
over, like how good they are live. Just like
Yeah.
that's, and I've spoken about this on this podcast before, like how good country music is live.
Yeah, it is.
like,
It really is. And yeah, same thing. There was just artists playing from the minute that the city wakes to the minute they go to sleep. I did buy one ticket for the stadium night, which was like the night Jelly Roll was playing. I think it was like when Megan Moroney hadn't even blew up. So she was on like the Little Baby stage.
Oh, yeah.
Reba come out and sang.
really?
Like there was all sorts like artists everywhere. But there was some artists like Ashlyn Craft who I really like that I went to her set and there was like probably 4 people there like watching. I'm like, I love this
How cool is
lady
that?
and here she is just here for free.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, that was very inspiring. I felt very inspired after that trip.
You would have, especially if
Yeah.
you're over there for music and then you get to see these artists.
That's right,
Just
yeah.
give you a little second wind.
Oh, it did. It did. And while I was over there, I said to myself, because I'm a massive fan of Zach Bryan, and I said to myself, like, I know he's touring at the time. If I can go see him, like, that would be dream come true. And at the time, he was playing in New York, and I just looked on, and the tickets were, like, so cheap, considering who he was and stuff. And no, like, I had no one really that could come with me. I was like, well, if I go, it has to be on my own, but that would require flying from Nashville to New York on my own and staying there. So I bought the ticket and like nearly threw up. I was so excited. But then the reality hit in that I was like, now I've got to actually go. Like, how can I do it?
The logistics.
Yeah, and then I remember like messaging all my family and they were also like, oh, I don't know, like that's a lot. You're on your own.
Tell me you went.
And I did.
Sure, that's awesome.
I did, and I actually went on Airbnb and I found $120 couch in someone's apartment to sleep on.
Worth it.
Were they advertising
It was,
that?
yeah, they were advertising the couch. It was like, here's a sofa, $120
They're
a
like,
night.
Zach Bryan's in town. Let's make the most of this.
I don't even think the lady knew who Zach Bryan was. But I had Googled on Airbnb Manhattan. So I assumed what that was showing me was Manhattan environment, suburbs. So I was like, okay, clicked it, booked it, and then I got off. I actually flew into Newark, which is New Jersey, which
I know where that is.
confused
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
I was
it
like,
is confusing,
how
yeah.
did this happen?
Yep.
I've now got to find my way to New York.
Yeah.
So I just like eavesdropped and like followed people and then like my
on the train?
Well,
Did you
my
get on the
whole
train
plan
or-
was to like Uber because that was the safe option, but I just generally ended up accidentally on like a subway,
Yep.
like
Yep.
in all sorts. And I end up walking out of this subway and I like look around me. I'm like, this is the ghetto. Like,
Yeah.
where am I? I'm like, maybe I've got the address wrong. So I walk back down. I talk to one of the ladies and she's like, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, I'm staying in Manhattan. She's like, show me the address, and I show her my couch on Airbnb, and she's like, honey, that's in Queens. And I was like, what? So I ended up, walking out of the subway, and I was very frightened. Like, it was a 5-minute walk, and I was like, I can't even walk. And she even recommended, like, I don't know why you're staying here, but if I was you, I'd get an Uber, just get straight into your home. And I obviously freaked out. I was like, oh, no. But it all worked out. I stayed there. There was actually 2 other strangers. One was from, like, I don't even know where, it's Iceland or somewhere. I never saw him, but he was apparently in one of the rooms. There was another lady in a room.
Yep.
So here I was just thinking I was sharing a room with the owner, but she'd left. And then, I stayed there for 2 nights. And on my last night after the concert, the concert was unreal too.
Was the concert in Manhattan?
No, it was in Forest Hill Stadium. So I think that was in Queens. So it worked out.
Yeah.
But it was unreal. Like, he even, he had, I forgot his name. I love him. Charles Wesley Goodwin. He opened for him, and they have a song together. And during Charles' opening, Zach just like walked out, sang a song, and then walked back off stage. Like, there was no big, like,
just casual.
Very casual.
Yeah, awesome.
And like the audience were just
it.
like not many people were on their phones. Like, it was like out of body experience, like best night ever. And then same thing, just followed the crowds back, and then ended up again on a subway with everyone and home. But it was such a good experience, and something that I think, again, like character building, that's the type of stuff when you're afraid, you just got to do it.
100%.
And then when you're in it again, you think, I can't do this. And it's like, well, I can.
You've done it.
Do it, people.
We
if
preach
you're ever
that.
second guessing or thinking, should I, shouldn't I, just fucking
Put
do
yourself
it.
out there.
Just do it,
We preach that on here. You got to get yourself out
you
there.
do.
Put
You
yourself
really
in
do.
the uncomfortable zone.
That's it.
I've heard my mate's got tickets to his Melbourne show.
Oh, yes.
And they said he's the best artist you've ever seen live.
So good.
Like, they reckon it was amazing and so unifying. Like, all the people in the crowds were singing his song at the top of their lungs.
That's it. And that was the most awesome part. And then, like, in Aussie culture, like, people yell at, like, do a shoey and all that silly stuff. And like, sometimes I'd forget that I was in America, and then they'd be like singing like USA, and I'm like, that's right, I'm in America. You just have so many pinch yourself moments. And like, because it was just a like grandstands, as soon as he started, I like walked down a few steps to get closer and just slid in with people. No one cares. Like, you just
everyone's chill.
Everyone just like walks everywhere. And the concert was completely done and over by 10 p.m. because it was like literally smack bang in a neighborhood.
Oh,
yeah, like it was like a cul-de-sac with this massive it was really random.
Really?
So everyone was finished and packed up and left by 10. It was awesome.
That's epic.
Yeah.
So did you go back to did you go back to Nashville after that?
Yeah, so I flew back the day after the concert. I was on such a high, but flew back then and finished my trip in Nashville and come home.
How did being in Nashville and around all them amazing songwriters and artists and stuff, how did that did it change your perspective at all on how you do things or anything like that,
I think it was definitely inspiring. Like, it was something I needed at the time because I think, sometimes you run out of things to write about or you just like slogging away, just doing gigs. You can forget like how awesome it is to be able to write and sing and play and stuff. And seeing how many people come together just to experience live music, I think was amazing. And it's always been like my dream to play music. And, when I was younger, I would always say, like, that's what I want to do is be a famous singer. And like, as you get older, sometimes it feels silly to say that, but when you're over there, it's like, no, this is like definitely what I want to do. And it sort of like cements that feeling, I think. Yeah.
You're on the right path kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it always country music?
No, it was just any music really. Yeah. Like, I mean, I started off, like, I wanted to be, Hannah Montana was like my ride or die. Like, she got me into it. Like, I was obsessed, had her fan, like, I was signed up to her fan mail accounts, like, Hannah Montana Doona covers. She was my first concert. Miley Cyrus was my first ever concert.
Where was that?
In Brisbane in 2011.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And that was like my mum got me the tickets purely, like she knew how much I loved her, but she also wanted to show me like if this is something you're serious about and this is like a good visualization of
something
what,
you can follow,
you can like rethink about
Nice
sort of
concert,
thing.
eh? How old were you?
I think I was 11.
That's young.
Jeez.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
I
Wait.
nearly fainted when she came out.
Oh, you would have been, yeah,
I
fangirling.
Yeah, like extreme fangirling. But it was something that I remember going home and being like, that's the sound I want to hear. That's the,
That's
like,
epic.
you know.
Especially coming from charters. Like,
Yeah, that's it.
what's your first concert? I don't know if we've ever spoken about
Fucks me, probably
My-
high five or something.
that.
I actually
Wiggles,
don't know.
sure of it.
Yeah.
No, mine was, I think, when I was 18, because there's nothing in charters.
Yeah.
I flew down to Brisbane for a metal band.
There you go.
Trivium. Shout out Trivium.
Never heard
But
of
like,
it.
yeah, like charters, you get there's no gigs out there, bruss.
You don't.
Well, even in Townsville, there's no real gigs.
No-
Like,
no big people, yeah.
No massive gigs.
I mean,
Try
I
act
think-
like he's above charters over here.
I think like Elton John come.
Yeah, Pink and
Pink?
they've like
They've started.
since the
Yeah,
stadium's
Pink,
been built.
Pink where it's
Yeah.
at, bro, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about live gigs. I was keen to ask about Stapleton. You went to
Yes.
because we love me and Hoops. We
Oh,
love Stapleton.
he is
Yeah.
unreal. Like, it sounds exactly
Yeah.
like he's, what you'd hear on your phone. Awesome. Again, another concert I went to on my own. I didn't realize also how small the Brisbane Entertainment Centre felt after being like at those really big ones.
right.
Like,
Oh, true. Yeah.
but unreal. Like, he sounded amazing, and something I really loved about his concert was it felt super intimate and raw. Like, he didn't have a heap of bells and whistles. Like, there was no backing tracks, no dances or anything. Like,
He don't need it.
Yeah,
He
he
just
doesn't.
needs
He
his
doesn't.
voice.
yeah.
and he literally would
his
like
guitar.
either look at
Yeah.
his wife or he'd look at like him playing, like, and very rarely he'd just glance out the crowd. But he was just jamming. Like, it felt
Yeah.
effortless.
Just presence.
So
Yeah.
present.
I love that he gets his wife up there too,
Oh.
and they complement each other so much.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
she sounds amazing too.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can hear her a little bit more. She's a bit louder live. And so she's
yeah.
almost got like kind of like a Casey Chambers kind of sound. But
Yeah.
like you said, her voice really complements him. And I think what he said at the start was, I'm not here to talk. So don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful to be here, but I'm not here to talk, I'm here to play.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So that's what I'm going to do for the next
Yeah.
couple of hours. And that's what he did.
And,
He barely spoke.
I get that. One of the best gigs I've ever seen was Ocean Alley. I love Ocean
Oh,
Alley.
yeah, I've
And
seen them.
I've seen him at the River Stage in Brisbane, and the singer barely
Yeah.
even spoke the entire time. He just and the songs just rolled one song into another.
Yeah.
And it was just, they spoke with their music, with their presence.
Yeah.
Which I just thought was insane.
I think
like,
that is
amazing.
the awesome
Yeah.
part, because like you are paying money to see them play,
Yep.
and
Yep.
sometimes I like when they say a little
backstory
story.
in that, yep.
And he did like where it was needed, but I
Not
don't
too
know,
much.
it was awesome, and yeah, so effortless.
And I've been getting into that opening act, Marcus King.
Oh,
band. Have
he
you heard
is
of him?
so
Yeah.
sick.
Bro, how good is he? Yeah.
I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was good, and he really, I think, like cemented. Like, people are still getting up and getting drinks and stuff during it, but his vocals, I was like, how are you not sitting down and watching this?
Yeah.
Like,
And Ken Shred as well.
yeah, so awesome. I remember, I think he might have come up just like on my Instagram reels, and I found a video of him playing at the Opry, and I remember thinking, wow, this is like really good. And then, yeah, seeing him live, I was just, same thing, sounds exactly like it.
Yep. That's awesome. Going back to something you were talking about before, where you were like, this is a dream come true, seeing Zach Bryan or whatever. What is your dream? Like, what is, if you could visualize, your dream? It's a bit of a hectic question.
Oh, like straight away,
Where would
like
you
I
know?
would know, the answer would be to do that, like to
Yep.
be able
Band
to
old
Be able to play.
Opry.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
like shoot for absolute stars would be
Yep.
my dream. And I remember at high school when we'd be in like the class where they would say like, what do you want to do when you're older? Like, you got to do uni, and I'd always be like, oh, I'm just going to be a famous musician. I'm like, yeah, but what's your plan B? And I remember for
There is no plan B.
I was like, well, there's no plan B, but like for this,
Plan B is B.
Yeah.
Just a musician,
That's
not a
it.
famous one.
just a musician. They're like, yeah, but for this class, you need to be working towards something. I'm like, oh, well, flight attendant maybe? So I started doing all this information, like Googling. So I did assignments on like how to become a flight attendant. What do I need to do? And here I'm like, nothing. Like, I know this is not going to...
Yeah, just to get you through the
It was
bloody
just
assignment.
to get me through the assignment, but like I did all non-OP subjects and stuff because I just knew straight away. I was like, I'm not going to uni. Like, anything I can learn is from what I'm already doing, which was the networking, talking to other musicians, other songwriters, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, the dream's always been the same. I think the older you get, the sort of, it's hard because you sort of forget how hard, I mean, you realise the logistics of how hard it can be.
It's a grind, eh?
It's a grind, and it gets
grind.
harder and harder, and sometimes the dream can become a little faded. But
I've seen it firsthand from shout out to Lukey Thomas, the dude I was talking about before. He's the most amazing musician. Obviously, he can play that many instruments, guitars, and I've seen how much of a grind it is.
Oh, it is, and especially if that's the sort of goal you're trying to achieve. So I've sort of, made smaller goals, like more like exciting now, like just getting on any type of festival, like in a lineup. I'm just trying to celebrate that stuff now because unfortunately it's all about how many followers you have, how many listeners you have. Like any festival that you apply to sing at, one of the main questions is how many Instagram followers do you have.
Really true.
Well, hopefully our 17 followers will follow you.
You might get another 2 followers.
That 2 is 2. Or like they'll say how many, like you have a music resume, they sort of want to see like what your background is, how many festivals. And I remember writing on one, I ended up just like saying like, how am I meant to, like if you don't put me on this festival, how am I meant to add it to my music resume in order, like someone's got to give me a chance here, otherwise you're not going to get anything to put on
like
it.
any job, they say you need 5 years experience.
And it's like, well, how do I get it?
Yeah, how do I get experience?
How do you get it in the first place?
Yeah,
I know.
Same thing.
Foot in the door.
So with that social media stuff, do you really make an effort trying to build that and stuff, or how do you navigate that space?
It's a hard one because TikTok at the moment is like massive, and anyone you talk to in the music industry will roll their eyes as well and say like, unfortunately, that's
the world we live in.
That is the way you get your music out. Like you get a snippet of your song you're going to release and you just pump it. And it's hard because it's like, I want to be a musician, not a influencer. Like I don't want to tell you what I'm doing. Come to a gig with me or get ready with me.
It's not musically organic or whatever.
No, it's just a little, like I find it a bit cringe, but it is what you have to do. And like I'm slowly starting, like you worry obviously, like what do people think? Are they judging me? Like such and such down the road who knows me's probably like, who she thinks she is, an influencer? But it's like, no, I'm just trying to get my music out there.
Well, somehow you got to be, you
that's
do it
it.
somehow. Yep.
But as much as TikTok can make me roll my eyes, it's also like if you can crack it, it is like mammoth. Like the amount it can do.
Zach Bryan right there.
What about that dude?
The Ranger fella?
Yeah, the fucking...
Oliver.
Oliver. Yeah. He even surpassed Zach Bryan in like how quick it blew up.
So quick.
Crazy. Literally like 48 hours.
Richmond or whatever.
Richmond, north of Richmond.
And then even his other bangers, I rate his
he was in
He's
Cairns
great.
recently.
Oh.
I'm sure. I'm pretty sure he went to Cairns.
Is it already been? Because I remember looking at getting tickets to that. It was when I was at work. He played at like the Tanks or something.
Might be coming up.
I'm working for it. I was spewing.
But
That's
that's a perfect example. Social media
just
TikTok
blew it up like that. Well, Zach Bryan was phenomenal.
Yeah.
From that that one video on his phone.
It was just one from, I think
he
it was like on a break. Yeah, like red. But I think because people related to the lyrics, that's what really resonated.
Lyrics,
But then you've got the other side. It's like there was a song that was going viral on TikTok, just trends people were using. And I remember looking to be like, where is the song? I can't find it. And then you end up stalking the song and finding like, oh, it's not out till next week. Then you're waiting for next week. And it's like, wow, they won me over. I've already downloaded it.
I kind of find that like sometimes you find an artist and you're like, that sounds good. But you go to the artist and they only have like 3 songs. And it's like, I kind of wish they had a bit of backing and they were grinding so that when they do blow up and people go and look at them, there's actually some substance and depth and volume behind them. Because, some artists you find, you're like, this is awesome. I go to it and they have 3 tracks.
Like a one-hit wonder,
But then other things, like other artists you find, they're like 3 albums of amazing music. And you're like, man, I've just hit jackpot here. Here's a new artist. So sometimes it may pay to have a slow grind and build up, because when you do eventually people find you, you have a lot of stuff behind you, have a lot of backing behind you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think that, I am only 24. Like some people get people looking at their music when they're, in their like late 30s. And I'm like, well, at least I've still got stuff like you just said. Like that stuff the music I've got out now isn't ever going to be a waste of money. It's like you work towards something and it's like a project and then you get to share it with someone. Like that's still awesome to be able to do that. So I try not to think like, oh, just because it's only got 2,000 streams doesn't mean that it's like wasted or anything, because it's not going anywhere. It's not being pulled
it's there
down.
forever. People can go
That's
back
it.
in 10 years' time.
Well, like, I mean, look at Chris Stapleton. He used to be part of the Steel Drivers.
Yeah, I've been listening to heaps of
and
Steel
people are
Drivers
like,
lately.
who are they? And I'm like, that
so
was his
good.
OG, you know, band. And same thing, I actually went to the museum in Nashville, and there was a Chris Stapleton highlight, and he said, if I haven't made it by the time I turn 40, like, I will happily just throw the towel in, pretty much. And he literally made it at 40.
Yeah, right.
And he's like, there you go. Like,
That's
that just
epic.
shows.
I love that. Yeah.
And that was years of, like, the Steel Drivers still being, like, pretty successful, but not to the extent that they probably are now.
I think, too, in general, like, organic songwriters, too, good ways. Like, writing a song at, say, 20 years old is going to be a lot different to writing a song in your 30s or 40s, because just
100%.
life experience.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So, like, you're
Yep.
24 now, like you say. Imagine when you're 34. Another 10 years, how many different experiences you're going to have. Your mindset had probably changed, and you'll have a whole different outlook on life. You're
Yeah,
probably going to be
definitely.
writing very different songs.
Oh, for sure. And like you said, your outlook on life changes, your experiences. And sometimes when life's going really good, like they're the times where I'm like, well, what do I write about?
Yeah,
My
you
life
find-
is so
I find
happy.
that. Yeah. Some of the best music comes from, like, you know,
Yeah, like the rough
Hardship.
times.
Yep, the
And well,
hardship,
that's the stuff I
heartbreak.
like listening to. Like
Yeah.
if I'm not, like if
real.
I'm driving to work and I'm just listening to like whatever, I'm not
Something that
listening to
invokes
lyrics.
a mood.
yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
So
Yep.
you got plenty of that to sort of
Yeah,
look forward to, not looking forward to, but
Yeah.
look forward to, because it'll make you write
It'll
better
make good
songs.
music. Yeah.
That's it. That's right.
Drag yourself through the coals.
yeah. Makes for good music.
Yeah. Just think of that. Anytime you're in a shit situation, feeling sorry for yourself, I'm going to get a good song.
I do think that. And that's something what people ask, like, you're going to write about? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to write about it.
Damn straight.
Yeah, that's it.
So have you had any like ex-partners say,
I have.
Don't put me
Good
in the
question.
song. They'll be like, babe, don't put me in this song.
No, I have. And it's always like a running joke if I like have been with someone, they'll be like, or their family will be like, oh, don't do her wrong. She'll write a song about you. And then they do me wrong. I'm like, well, you knew. Like,
It was coming.
it was coming. Yeah, but no, that's I think I take even just a grain of like my own experience and then I dramatize it anyway. So like the story, I mean, the story is true, but at the same time I might add a bit of mayo just to make
Based
it
on real events, like a
Yeah.
movie based on real events.
literally.
That's never true. It's just
Like-
Hollywood.
That's
Just
it.
gin it up,
Yeah.
fluff it up.
Like I might say like, oh, we knew each other for years, but maybe it was only a few months. Or like you just like try and make it a bit more maybe
Turn it into a story.
relatable.
Yeah. Storytelling. Yeah.
That's it. Or like you don't want to give away too much. Like there's something a bit exciting about adding something personal to a song because you're like, this is going to be a dig, they're going to know.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
it's like, who am I? Like I've got like
better
how
chill
many
you.
followers? Like, but that's the exciting part until like it comes to interviews and they're like, what inspired it? I'm like, wow,
This dickhead on you.
this dickhead.
Just run him down.
Yeah, that's it.
I got a question. Have you ever had any like tough crowds or tough gigs where or has everyone been smooth? You know?
Gigs and crowds. Oh, I mean, sometimes it's tough when there's no one there and you're just playing quite literally to the bar staff.
Yeah, I
and
get
I'm
it.
just
Yep.
like,
Yep.
this is just for the money, those gigs.
Yeah, okay,
but
yep.
when there's like people there and they're like interacting, you're like, oh, like I'm genuinely enjoying what I'm doing.
Feed off it, yeah.
Yeah, but when it's like getting to witching hour, it's like 11:30 p.m. You've got half an hour to go, and there's nobody there, and you're
Just
just
feel like
like,
stopping, getting up and walking.
here I am, like watching the keno, like, oh, here we go. What am I?
Number 23. Watching the footy.
Well, actually, an awkward time that in a gig sense was probably that I was playing like in front of a projector screen that had the footy on, and I just finished a song, and all these people are like, yeah, and I'm like, thank you, and then I'm like, and then I realized like one guy sort of looked at me, and I realized like this team had scored. I'm like, Okay. So like things like that where you really are just background. Like I could say whatever I want in the microphone, they wouldn't even hear. But then you've got other gigs where they're very like appreciative of live music.
You
and
should try to do
they're
that.
great.
Just drop a few like random words.
I definitely have.
Have you?
Yeah, like if I've got someone I know they're like sitting in the audience and I'll say something silly in the mic just to them because they're listening to me, but no one else. Like, I think like there was like one time I'd finished a song and like no one had said anything. It was just like super quiet. And I was like, anyway, like nice to meet everyone. Like I'm Billie Rose, you can follow. And it was just like crickets. So I was like, oh, I'll just go fuck myself. Like no one even heard. And I'm like, yeah, see? But like that doesn't happen very often, but they can be some tough gigs, yeah.
Well, what's been the best one then where you've felt the most receptive from the crowd and stuff?
I would say like anytime you're doing like an opener for someone, you're actually playing your own music and like your own original songs, they're not covers, and you're holding a crowd for like say 30 minutes or to 45 minutes, and those people that are actually there, they've paid to be there, whether it was for you or for the other artist, it doesn't matter. They're
there for music. They're not there to watch footy or
keno or have a feed. Like they're generally just there to watch music.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So probably those type of gigs are like definitely my favourite.
Was that one at Cluden last year, the year before?
Yeah, so
I
that
heard,
was
Wade Forster
he
gave you a shout out.
Yeah,
on a podcast with those Mission Beach Boys.
with Campo.
Yeah, the Campos. Yeah. I was
go.
listening to his podcast, and it was his interesting story. His life story, and
he's awesome.
He gave you a shout. Oh, he spoke about a few country music.
Yeah, we'll just say he gave me a shout out.
Personal shout out.
Well, actually, no way. Just from like being around Charters Towers, I think he was on the same cricket team I was on a couple of years ago.
Really?
Yeah, just like mutual friends of friends. But he is killing it.
He's
Like
doing well.
what he's doing
He's
would be
an
like a
American now.
dream.
Yeah, he's cruising around America because like Cody Johnson thing's insane.
Yes, that's what
can't
I mean.
believe
It
that.
takes one thing to really just like set it up,
Which is so cool that Cody
awesome.
Johnson come to Townsville. And
Yeah.
like,
Well,
you know,
they did the roping.
They did the
at
rodeo,
Elite Rodeo.
And that was
Yeah,
all
so
set up
sick.
from TikTok.
Yeah.
Like he
oh,
put
it's like
it.
a TikTok thing.
Yeah, so like
okay.
Wade had put up like, hey, like heard you coming, why don't we get together? And he did.
And he responded, I love Cody. He just played in Ipswich.
Yeah,
Last
and
weekend.
I think Sydney or something last night. They're currently on tour in Australia, but
Yep.
awesome. Wade is a great guy, and I think same thing. Like he's just come from such a small background to. I mean, look where he is now. That's very inspiring for
blowing
someone
up.
like me. Yeah.
Doing well.
Sick mustache too.
Yeah, fat Mo.
You'll have to get him on here.
Proper Ned Flanders, eh? Yeah. What's been the biggest crowd you've performed in, you reckon?
I mean, biggest was probably, there's two that come to mind. When I was like really young, I think I was probably 9. My mum did like a Styling Up Healthy campaign in Charters Towers, and we had Jessica Malboy come play.
Epic.
And I opened for Jess and I sang like a camp rock song. Had like white go-go girl boots on, like a proper maid outfit, and that was like the World Theatre was packed. So that was probably like a moment when, I was young, but I'll never forget like that. And same with, I did the national anthem for the Roosters versus Cowboys game.
Oh, epic.
Yeah, I think I was 15 at the time. So that, crowd-wise, that was
was one of the
probably
bigger ones.
the biggest. Yeah.
Did
Nervous?
Cowboys win?
Yeah, did Cowboys win? Even more importantly.
Can't remember. Couldn't tell you.
Probably lost.
But yeah, that was probably big. I mean, I've like opened for Busby Maru. I don't know if you know them. They're so awesome.
Me and Hooper went and seen them.
Well, I was listening to Jeremy on the Deadass podcast last week,
right,
I think,
there you
the
go.
week before.
Nice.
Yeah,
He's
they're
the man.
so good.
I froth over the guitarist.
Yeah.
Oh, he is-
Jeremy. Yeah.
yeah.
He said that he
He's
said
very quiet.
Tom's doing a lot of solo stuff now.
Oh, okay.
They're just having a 2-year break.
Yeah, fair
Just
enough.
'cause.
Yep.
But yeah, Jeremy,
Yep.
he's definitely
his guitaring is so good.
Oh,
it's like
unreal.
he's shredding an acoustic.
And they're so humble too. So
Yeah, yep.
I am open for, I think it was 3 of their shows. One was in Mission Beach, one was in Townsville, and I think it was maybe 2 in Townsville.
Yep.
And I mean, like that was a great turnout as well at the Dalrymple, I'm pretty sure it was.
The Deli, yeah, nice.
Yeah, so
Yep.
they're probably like the biggest ones
They're
I've
awesome.
done.
They are.
Yeah.
Down to earth fellas too. Eh?
Very cool.
Rocky boys.
Yeah, Rocky.
Yeah.
What about stage fright then?
Yeah.
Talking about big crowds. Have you ever any stories of stage fright or anything, or you just
Yeah, I definitely like for just my normal cover gigs, I don't get like any feelings. because, you know, you've got
You're
your
used to it
iPad
now,
there, you're
done
just
it that
doing
much.
like covers.
Yep.
But if it is my own original music and I've got no iPad, no like prompts,
Nerves kick in.
I kick in because I'm like, I can't mess up. Like if I mess
yeah,
up, like
you gotta nail it.
you got to remember the chords, the words.
Yeah.
And same thing, like sometimes when you get nervous, like I tend to talk more.
Yeah.
And so, so if I'm on stage, I'm like, "Boo."
Just chewing their ears off.
yeah, definitely get a little nervous when it comes to things like that. Or playing with a band sometimes, if it's been a while,
Yeah.
that can feel like, you know, it can like
Well, you probably get so used to doing
warp
things
ya.
on your own time.
that's it.
And then you need
And
to
as
actually-
much as like I love like not playing guitar and just performing with a band or something, if it's been a while, it can warp you a little bit because you're like, oh, you can't always hear yourself as best as
Yeah.
you can with just your guitar. So things like that, yeah.
Okay, and going on to, we're going to go top 5 or top 10? Country.
Oh.
Top. We usually do top
Just go
5.
5. Yeah, we'll
go
stick
5.
with the top
Yeah,
5.
go top
Five.
5. Yeah, top 5 country music artists.
Oh,
Or you could, no, go top 5 country first.
okay.
then go
Chris
artist or something.
Stapleton, I definitely love him. This is in no particular
Okay,
order.
yeah.
Chris Stapleton, I would say Zach Bryan.
You forget.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
I
you
need to
do.
look at
We
my
always-
playlist.
Yeah, we always just forget like
Yeah, we-
everything.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll get home. You'll be driving home or something after this. You'll be like, oh, I forgot about this person.
Yeah, and I don't know
Happens all
like
the time.
who's country. Like if if it is just country, I mean I do like Garth Brooks. I think always
Classic.
will be
Yeah.
classic. Like he's amazing.
Yep.
What are we at? We're at 3. Like I'm not a massive fan of like it sucks because I know there is such a missing piece with the females in country music. Like that's always seems to be a topic, but I just can't really.
Martina McBride.
Yeah, I mean she's good. I like Carly Pearce. She's great. Ashlyn Craft. There you go. She was
Alison
one I
Krauss.
saw. Yeah, she's okay. I don't really listen to a whole heap of that. I do listen to a lot of men, which I think
Yeah.
a lot of
same.
people
I don't,
do.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
listen to many.
Yeah, but that
Same, to be
Ashlyn
honest.
Craft is great. I think Brothers Osborne are cool.
I love them. They're
so,
good.
yeah,
Awesome
there you go.
guitarist. I love how much they jam.
Yeah.
They jam.
They are cool.
And my mate seen him at the CMC years ago when they came, and he reckons that they were just improv.
Yeah.
Wait,
Up
there's
on
so
stage.
many
They're
good.
amazing.
Like I think people don't realize how good country music artists are at guitar.
Like music.
Keith Urban, we've spoken
Yeah.
about on this podcast.
Oh, he's
how
awesome.
amazing he is. That
Yeah.
song, man, Clutterbilly, where he's just shredding
Yeah.
the country key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where like when it's an instrumental and it goes on and on, you're like, yes.
I love
this
that.
is
That's
great.
I love that.
Yeah,
Did
that's it.
Stapleton do any of that stuff at his
He
concert?
did.
Because he's
a
good.
wicked guitarist.
He's
Yeah.
great at it. I think that's the best part about seeing live music is they'll generally do more than you hear on the recording.
Yeah.
Like they'll do like an extra couple of bars or something because they're like feeling it, and
They're
that's
just jamming and jamming.
Yeah, that's the
I was
cool
listening
stuff.
to John Mayer. Well, it was the not Dave Matthews, Zach Brown band.
Yeah,
And
Zach Brown band, they're another one.
They covered Neon
Oh,
with John
yep,
Mayer.
yep.
And John Mayer comes out and shreds the guitar, and they jam on for ages. They literally jam for like 5
If
minutes.
I see
the
a song-
the drummer for Zach
Yeah.
Brown band is phenomenal.
You see a
Yeah.
song that's usually 4 minutes. If there's a 10-minute version, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
straight up, straight up.
Yeah.
Just 4 minutes of improv jamming.
Yeah.
I love
love
that.
that.
Yeah,
So good.
same. We'll probably roll into the guest questions.
Yeah. But oh, actually,
I've
what
got
if
a question for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
What kind of advice would you give like a beginner singer, like just singing, not any instrument? Because I got 2 young boys in singing class.
Yes, well,
Yeah,
singing
awesome.
class. Singing class for starters, because I think, you know, I don't think everyone is born like completely great and talented. It does take some work, but like singing lessons are great because it, you know, you learn about pitch and range and
Well,
diction.
it's all muscles, isn't it? You got to learn how to use the muscles.
Yep.
That's right. Warming up, like the importance of warming up before a gig,
Really?
vocal warm ups, like all that type of stuff, I think is learned through singing lessons. So I think that, and then getting them to play like in little festivals, whether it's like talent shows or country music festivals.
Philo Festival.
Yeah, and any festival because getting
They're not playing at
up,
the Philo Festival.
because
I
getting
won't
them
let
up
'cause I
on
don't think
stage.
I attend.
Getting them up on stage in front of people, I think, is really good because if
that'd
you
be
can
hard.
put all the things that you learn from a singing lesson together and get through it in front of a crowd, I think that's like when you've hit the nail on the head. So I think if they're in singing lessons, that's a good start.
One of my boys, they are doing it in front of a crowd, but one of my boys sung NSYNC's Bye 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 a couple of months ago.
Banger.
Yeah.
And he thought he was the man.
That's good.
I'm happy that
He
song's.
was like, bye bye.
Yeah.
I'm happy that music's still going.
It's 'cause of
I
that.
think
That's what we're
Deadpool.
with.
Deadpool pulled
Yeah,
it
new
back.
Deadpool,
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
Oh, true.
he's got that dance to it. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, but like that confidence. Like if I could keep the same confidence I had performing "See You Again" at my primary talent show, like you'd have no dramas. Like because you don't care what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
Like,
When you're a kid,
That's
you
the
just
thing.
yeah, like I was down
Yeah.
at the preppies, like grabbing their hands as if I was the shit, and it's like that's how it should be.
they're letting
Like,
me-
why do we lose that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they're letting me choose their next song that they're going to perform. So
Oh,
pretty good.
got any good ones?
Yeah, some 90s R&B this time.
nice.
Here we go.
Oh, man, you're going to get the girls.
Can
You're going to get the
we
girls.
talk
Yeah, exactly. So
for
Carter's got
a
that
minute?
song going. Carter's
All
chose that
for one.
Yeah.
I swear. Wait, there's a country version of that. I'll show you after. Yeah, it's
It's probably a country version of a lot. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Yeah, yep.
I'm good at finding either a country version of a song or a reggae version of a song.
I like Country Goes Metal.
Reggae.
Oh,
There's Last Night by Morgan Wallen.
Really?
There's a band that make that like heavy because I obviously love metal.
True.
You know, and heavy, and I'm like, it's good, it's perfect. It's like it's meant to be written in metal.
Wait, before we yeah,
I can imagine it.
before we get into guest questions, if you could choose like one person, but that's pretty hard. Say like 3 people that you could collaborate with.
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, shoot for the moon, right?
Yeah.
Chris Stapleton. That would be so awesome. I think if we were going Aussie, like speaking of Wade, that would be pretty cool. I
That would
think
be sick.
Well,
because
that's
he's
very-
got like a really like. I would say he's almost like diving into like the Zach Bryan type stuff. That's like quite trendy at the moment. So I'd say that would be awesome.
Make it happen. Get a gig in
Yeah,
Townsville when he's back.
let's
That
do
would
it.
be awesome. Yeah, proper.
I don't know who else. That's a really hard one. No, I don't know. Probably yeah.
Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan, I do love him, and like I know he's controversial right now, but I love his music. That's
I'm not up with the. What's the latest
No.
with his controversial?
It's just too much to get into. But if you're
okay.
listening and you're hating on him, don't
Google
hate
it later.
I don't look at any of this shit.
something
either. I
when he
just
got
listen
arrested or something.
No, that's not it. He just apparently was a bit of a dick
Jeez,
to his partner, and there's a whole heap of stuff. But
okay.
he's
Yeah,
trying, like people are trying to cancel him at the moment, but I'm trying to say that like his music
Yep.
doesn't have anything to do with him as a person, I don't think. So
like
Yeah,
Chris
okay.
Brown. Or
Yeah.
the worst. What about the worst one, which is fucked? R. Kelly. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
That's- see,
Yeah,
that
like
sucks.
he was the musical.
honestly,
some
his
bangers.
voice
Yeah,
is
some bangers.
one of the greatest voices in history. I think.
Yeah.
For R&B or
Obviously, he's a piece of shit, but we
Yeah.
won't get into all
Jimmy
that. but,
Barnes, come on, bud. John
man,
Farnham.
you listen.
Have you listened to R. Kelly just rip it?
Wait, look
Nah, but
up.
I've listened to T-Pain just rip
Wait,
it. And he
listen,
sing.
no, Kev, listen to "When a Woman Loves" by R. Kelly live version.
Go on then.
Fucking
I'll load it up.
phenomenal.
Yeah, go on then.
But yeah, we won't get into the politics. We
No.
just like people's music.
Yeah.
Just talking about
We
music.
like music. And
It's
stuff.
like Michael Jackson, man.
Oh,
But sometimes there
Same.
are like musicians that are amazing, but like what they do outside or off the stage is you like, but how you going?
yeah, that's it. But it's like
Yeah, but it's
work.
just like art.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
People like good art paintings, but they don't give a fuck about the artist.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I actually sometimes
is.
I love bands and the lyrics I don't really like, but I just love the actual
The sound,
Yeah, like,
yeah.
like Co Wetzel, Treaty Oak Revival. They're one.
Yeah.
They're my
They're
favorite
like,
band
I feel
right
like
now.
they're popping off a heap right now.
Probably they're probably my most flogged country artist at the moment. But some of their lyrics are like dark and real
Yeah,
degrading,
like
real
they've
degrading
got a
towards
song
women.
"Missed Calls," and I'm
Yeah.
like, whew.
And I know, and like I sing along, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to sing that." But,
Yeah.
But just I love the rock style. to
That's
it.
what I mean.
Yeah,
I
so
feel like
good.
that's all coming. Like,
I love country rock.
yeah,
that's mine.
that
my
it
flavour.
seems to be trending at the moment. Well, maybe it's just like my For You page, but I
Yeah.
think a lot of people aren't sleeping now on those type of artists. That are
I'm spewing
the
on Miss
rock.
Co Wetzel at CMC.
Yeah, me
He's my
too. I did
favourite
see
band.
the live video of that. It looks
Yeah,
good.
Yeah. Okay, guess questions. If you could
Yes.
eat anything for the rest of your life, what are we eating?
Chocolate.
Might not be a long life
She
though.
had that one.
I mean, I love a good steak.
What
is
kind of chocolate are we
delicious.
talking?
Oh,
Bit of
like,
everything?
well, there's too many to choose from, but like I would probably just go like your typical dairy milk.
yeah.
Just straight up chocolate?
Just straight. Love
Yeah.
chocolate. I'm a sweet tooth.
Yeah, I am too, man.
I do love chocolate.
Favorite ever athlete? If you like sports at all.
I mean, I'm not too big in sports, not going to lie, but at the moment I would definitely say I'm very inspired by Ned Brockman.
Sick.
Yeah, I just watched his documentary Run on
I
Netflix.
watched that. Yep.
Amazing, unreal. I remember the Inspired Unemployed did a interview with him while he was doing that. He'd just finished doing that massive run, and that's when I first heard of him. Like I think it was about 3-4 years ago, and I remember just feeling, like, who is this guy? Like, that is so awesome. Yeah. And then my dad just read his book and like gave me a bit more insight about him.
Shout out to Kopi.
Yep, shout out. He's always a sucker for a good book like that. And so definitely Ned Brockman.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Well, we sort of went through it. Most awkwardest situation or shittest situation you've been in.
Well, not musically, would be back to ex-boyfriends. I actually moved to Townsville very recently and moved in with my partner at the time who was cheating on me the entire relationship. I know. So I've
Some good music coming out of that.
great music.
You done fucked up, boy.
New album coming soon.
That's it. So I've actually moved house 6 times since December because I was like in his
December. Holy.
Yeah, I know. So I've been here, there, everywhere trying to get comfy. I think I've finally landed at a good spot. So it's been pretty rattled start to the year, but
I look forward to hearing the music.
yeah, that was an awkward shit situation.
Fuck that dude.
Yeah, dead ass.
Keen for music. Keen to hear the
You
music.
can look in the camera and run him down.
What's
Would
something?
get cancelled.
What's something you're not good at?
Sport. It's never stopped me though. Like
What have
Still
you
give it a
tried?
crack?
I mean, I was on I somehow windled my way into like the best category touch footy team I could, and I cannot. Like I can't even. I don't know how I got on there. I like had my dad and sister come down and watch on a Thursday, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, how did you get onto this? Same with like any school sport. Like I would give it a go, but I'd be like an entire lap behind everyone. But like I didn't care. Like I would just do it. Same with like it was like breaststroke, and I was doing freestyle. Like I didn't even
Still losing.
still losing, but whole school would cheer me on. So probably sport. I'm not very good, but. I don't know, give it a go.
Give it a
but
shot,
I don't
give it a
like
crack.
it. Yeah.
What's a hidden talent? What's something you're good at that people don't really realise?
Probably doing stuff on my own. Like it doesn't bother me to say go to a gym class on my own or go grab a coffee with people I've never met.
Put yourself out there. I like that. Yep.
Yeah, like I find like there's so many like of my friends now like, how do you go to like I want to start say F45 but like I don't have anyone to go with. I'm like just go.
People are too shame, eh? People
I think
about
shame is
yep.
so that's probably something I've found I'm quite good at is just like going like there's a run club tonight I'm never been but I'm just gonna go.
Yeah,
you know what I
awesome.
mean? Like
That's
just
good.
rock up. You meet that's how you meet people.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you think you've always sort of had that, or was situations like that flying to New York for a concert sort of helped?
And playing on stage, singing on stage.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I think doing gigs on my like I would say probably 98% of my gigs I'm just there on my own. So in my breaks I'm sat on my own, I set up on my own, I pack up on my own. Like no one's ever there. So like that helps. And then I think I did live in Brisbane for nearly 2 years and I didn't know anyone there except for like maybe 3-4 people. So I had to like find a gym and go to work and even after like gym, I'd like see a girl that I thought like, hey, do you want to grab a coffee and like start a friendship? Like just getting yourself out of your comfort zone. I think living in Brisbane for that time period helped and doing gigs on my own definitely helped.
Have you been to the movies by yourself?
Yes. I love the movies.
I don't mind, like I can
done
go
that,
get a feed, go do things, but I don't know if movies would ever be one I'd do by
love it.
myself.
I did-
Really?
That's
did
like
it-
a hobby of mine. Going to the cinema, getting Maltesers and popcorn and like, why should I find someone to go? We're not going to talk anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
I
True.
seen Wrath in Brisbane. We went down there. My missus had a work thing. I went to the cinemas and watched Wrath of Man with Jason Statham.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was frothing on it the whole time. No one distracted me.
Nothing. Yep. So definitely cinemas is fine. No one knows. Yeah, I like doing things on my own. So that's probably something I'm good at.
Favorite album? We've spoken a lot about music.
Yeah, we have.
Drop an album down, but with
I actually got asked this not long ago what album inspired my song, like inspired me, I guess. And the first album that come to mind was Cleopatra by the Lumineers.
Right.
Yeah, so it
I don't know that album.
come out in 2016, and that was probably the first time I'd heard something that wasn't like my parents' music or country music,
Yeah.
and I was like, it was my first time, I guess, experiencing like alternative, and I was like, oh, this is really nice. Like they've got Cleopatra, Gail's song, Sleep on the Floor. You've probably heard some of them.
Yep.
But I just love the way that album made me feel, and I still to this day will put it on. That's probably the most album I've got like the most songs downloaded.
Oh, epic.
Yeah.
Favorite motto that you live by or you love to preach?
There's so many, but I do have tattooed on me, give your heart but keep your head. I love that. And I also recently watched A Cinderella Story, and it had don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game.
That's
and I
awesome.
think that's a good quote to,
Yep.
don't let the fear of losing or messing
Yeah.
up keep you
You're
from
gonna
giving it a
lose.
go.
If
No
you're
matter
trying
what.
anything new,
You're
you're
gonna
not
lose.
going to be good at it.
Yeah.
You're going to be
That's
shit,
it.
Gotta-
fail a heap of times.
Got to get
and then
good
you
at getting back up.
Yeah, keep going.
That's
Yeah.
right. So
No,
they're my
awesome.
two.
That's a good one.
That's awesome.
No, well, yeah, we appreciate you
Thanks for
coming
coming on, Billy.
Build your social media.
Yeah, where's your socials at?
Yeah, what's
Shout out.
Follow
and
me.
what gigs you got coming
What's
up, and what's your
happening, yeah.
socials where people can follow you, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. And you can find my socials at Billie Rose, so Billie. The amount of people that still spell with a
Oh,
Y.
yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Wait, Billie Rose sounds real country too, eh?
Billy
Bella
Rose.
Joe.
Hey, Cletus, come look at Billy Rose.
You
That's a
wouldn't
great country
believe
music name.
Yeah, it
how
is.
many people are like, is Billy short for something? I'm like, yeah, William. Like, that's my, like, what do you reckon it's short for? So, yeah, Billie Rose. I mean, I just tried to get that as my Instagram, but it was taken. So it's got my last name in it too, but we don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And then obviously the link to like your link tree to your website and your Facebook and all that's on there. Spotify, if you can give me a stream, that's really helpful. What
Gigs
else?
coming up.
Gigs coming up, playing tomorrow night underneath the Rambutan. If you're alive and well at 9 p.m, that's where I am. If you're doing nothing after the Cowboys, sometimes I play at the Quarter Deck. That's on Saturday. I just realised this probably won't be
Yeah,
out.
this will
That's
probably
why
be
I
out
was
a few
like,
weeks,
yeah,
but-
that's fine.
That's all right.
Anything other big ones coming up? Not necessarily. I
Just keep
Follow
it
on the
every
socials.
week, yeah, follow on socials.
Follow on the
I
Insta.
post on like a
Awesome.
gig guide every month, so that's where you can
wicked.
find me.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out.
Awesome.
Go support our gigs.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks for
you.
coming on, Billy. We
Yeah,
really
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
That was
eh? Yep.
Peace out, guys.
Yeah, well.